I want to show you some tricks about the stitch length, stitch width, and needle positions on the Bernina 570 Quilters Edition. So this is something that I have all my new students do when we're doing a hands-on class. So number one, we have everybody start sewing at just a normal stitch length. And normal, when you turn the machine on, is 2.5. So a stitch length can actually be adjusted while you're sewing, and as soon as you adjust it, you notice that the numbers turn yellow. So at any given time, I can always peek over my students' shoulders and know if they have changed a setting beyond the default number. So I can see that the length of the stitch is much longer on screen. I am seeing a much longer stitch on my fabric, and I can change it while I'm sewing. So if you haven't tried that, give that a try today. So here is a setting of 6 millimeters long, and if I want to go back to normal, I can just push clear. Okay, so let's go ahead, and I'm going to stop with the needle in the down position, and let's go ahead and just turn a corner here. We'll just come on back, but let's pick a zigzag. As I pick a zigzag, now we can play with the stitch width. So since I have foot number 1C on, I can go all the way up to 9 millimeters wide. And again, I can change it while I'm sewing, and if I want, I can also lengthen it out. And what I see on screen right here, let me show you how perfect this is. This is actual size. So as I was doing that last stitch right here, you can see that that is what is showing on screen. So if you're a very visual person, you're going to love the Bernina with this setting because you can see exactly what you're going to get before you even step on the foot control. So let me go back to a straight stitch. I'm kind of back to my default settings here, and I want to show you needle position, but then I'm going to go back and show you how you can save the settings that you like on your machine, so every time the machine turns on, it comes back to your favorite settings. Okay, needle position. That's going to be these two over here, and as you touch to the left, you'll see that the stitch and the minus sign is bringing me all the way over to the side at 5 options this way, and then 5 options the other way. And again, you can sew while you are changing needle positions. You'll just get a crooked stitch, but it does kind of show each of those different settings and that you can change them while you go. Again, a quick clear puts that needle back to the center. So I mentioned that if you like a certain stitch length, so I'm a fan, my favorite is 2.35, so that's a little bit smaller than normal, but it's still large enough I can see to take it out. And so instead of turning that every time I sit down to sew or every time I turn my machine on, touch the eye for information and then touch right here where the little picture of the floppy disk is. That's kind of the universal save feature. So now 2.35 is the stitch length that will be the default setting. Now later if I want to turn that off or deactivate it, that's what this one would be for, and I could just clear it back out. So I can actually do this on every single stitch. Here we go, let me get it back to where I liked it. Yes, I know that sounds so fine-tuned, but that's just my favorite one. All right, so let's just show you, because on a zigzag, let's say we made this super wide and super long, and that's our favorite setting. We could save that stitch as well. So now every time I bring up a zigzag, that's the zigzag it turns onto. So you can go through this entire machine, and you can actually apply stitch width, stitch length, needle positions, and I believe even some of the mirror image options you can save as always being like flip to the left or flip to the right, opposite of what it was, and you'll be able to keep that in the machine for your personal setting. So I love that fact. One last thing here. So did you notice that when I went back to a straight stitch, it was right where I left it, but it was also right where I left it for the zigzag? So that's so nice because as I manipulate stitches and then come back to a straight stitch, that last stitch I was on that setting is kept. And that's what we call the Bernina altered stitch memory. So we haven't actually put it into memory, but we haven't turned the machine off, so it remembers the last setting it's on. And that is true on a Bernina, but not on other brands of machines at this time, because normally when I go back to a straight stitch, it would have cleared it out, or back to the overlock stitch that I had altered, and it would have cleared it out. So it's something I do use quite a bit, and when I can, with our future videos here on this machine, I will use that feature and show you exactly what we're talking about. So I hope you'll kind of find some time to try out some different stitch lengths, stitch widths, needle positions. When we talk about our stitch book, one thing that you can do, like with your stitches, is stitch it out at the default setting and then actually make it maybe narrower, maybe longer, or maybe shorter. And you'll actually have 3 to 4 different variations of a decorative stitch while you're sewing out that particular combination. There's so much to learn on the Bernina 570, and that's why we created the Bernina Stitching Cosmos online course to help you master all these wonderful features of your machine. So check out the links below this YouTube video where you can watch 10 videos in that course for free.